This week we are in the second Torah portion, and the entire Torah in Bereshit. We are in Parashat Noach, which, as you may infer, has a lot to do with Noah. And you know the story of Noah and the flood and the animals. We often think of this as a story for kids, partially because the animals are really compelling and because there's a rainbow. But the truth is, it's not really a story for kids. And each year, as I think about how to look at this portion, I come back to this book, Does God Have a Big Toe? This is a story of a book of modern midrashim. The second title line says Stories About Stories in the Bible, which is a really good definition of midrash. It's by Mark Gelman, and the illustrations are by Oscar DeMejo. So I thought I would read to you this story to think about some of the more adult, complicated, difficult aspects of the Noah story. It's called Noah's Friends. Like most people, Noah ignored bad news. For example, when God told Noah that only his family would be saved from the big flood, Noah figured, God is very busy. Maybe the rest of the passenger list is in the mail. After all, this ark God wants me to build is huge. I'm sure there will be more than enough room for all my friends. Later on, when God told Noah to take pairs of all the animals onto the ark, Noah understood right then that there would be no room for his friends. Noah didn't have the heart to come right out and tell his friends, but he did try to tell them in a roundabout way. He said to his pal Jabal, "You know, Jabal, this might be a very good time for you to take those swimming lessons you've been talking about for so long." And to his friend Jahaz, "Jahaz, old buddy, take my advice and move your house to the top of that very high mountain. The view is great over there, and it's much cooler in the summertime." But Noah just could not bear to come right out and tell his friends about the flood. Noah's friends didn't pay much attention to his advice, but they became very curious about the huge pile of wood in Noah's front yard. Noah told them it was just a statue. And even after the thing really looked like a boat, he said it was just a statue of a boat. Noah's friends thought he was nuts. But then they thought that Noah was nuts even before he started building the ark. Then the animals started to arrive, and Noah still could not tell his friends the truth. So he said the animals were just there to pull the boat to sea. But his friends did not believe him. "Chipmunks?" one asked one. "Rabbits?" asked another, and they shook their heads. On the day the rains began, the animals all ran into the ark, and the water began to cover the ground. And Noah's friends ran to the ark, banged on the door, and called up to Noah, who was peeping over the side of the ark. "Hey, Noah, you rat! Let us in! We're your friends! You can't float off and leave us here to drown. Save us, Noah. Save us." And Noah looked down with tears in his eyes and said, "I didn't pick me. God picked me. What can I do?" Noah's friends Jahaz and Jabal came to the ark dressed in a zebra suit. They demanded to be let in. No one knew it was them. They were too lumpy to be a zebra. Let me in," they said. "You forgot me when you gathered in all the animals. I am Jahaz, a zebra." Noah looked down on his friends and spoke through his tears. "My dear friends, I don't know how I can live without you. The world was not this bad when God gave it to us, and I don't know why God is saving me. Maybe God needs somebody to tell the story of how we all messed up the world. Maybe God wants some of the old life to grow up in a new, clean place. Honestly, I don't know. God picked me. I will remember you always, and I will tell the story of how to live in the right way. The story we were all told by God and by our parents, but that we forgot. Maybe my children's children will learn the story. And then maybe the world will not turn out bad again. And then nobody will ever have to say goodbye to friends again. I love you. I'm sorry for you. Sorry for the animals. Sorry for me. And sorry for God." Then the great rains came and flooded all the earth. Some say it was just rain, but others say that it was God's tears. This story breaks my heart every time in a way that the story that is in the Torah doesn't. Because the story in the Torah focuses on the covenant and on the survival, but this story focuses on all that gets left behind, and I think fundamentally humanizes the Noah story. And I think that it is so important for us to remember we're not in this life on our own, and we never truly leave anyone else behind without feeling the pangs and the difficulty of doing that. And so this year, as we read Parashat Noach, instead of thinking, well, floods don't really happen like that, or this isn't history, or what the Torah says is all there is to it, to think about from an adult perspective, what does it mean to be righteous and to leave behind all that is not? Shabbat Shalom.